Let's go back a little bit. The 116 days that I spent at Nemours was not all bad. I met some incredible nurses, such as Michelle and Lori. Their love and passion for nursing and taking care of micro preemie babies was nothing short of amazing. This was my first skin-to-skin contact, and they were patient with me. They walked me through this and let me know I had it every step of the way. Whenever I had questions and concerns, these two, especially these two, always came back with information and explained it to me the best they can and made sure I understood it. And for that, I thank you, ladies.
Look at that. Not even moving. Right. Okay. You need to breathe too. Okay. Don't hold your breath. This is nerve-wracking. I don't want to do anything wrong.
No, you're doing great, Mama.
Just fine. Okay. She's holding her tube for you. Now settle. Make sure. Put the box down here.
Although this was not the ideal way of having your newborn baby, I appreciate it so much and I enjoyed the time on my first skin-to-skin contact. My day consisted of going to Nemours every morning before 9 and spending my day there and learning about my baby and her growth. This was another day, and as you can see, the nurse was dealing with Dream and her IDs with no gloves. This was very common at Nemours. Here we have another example of one of the nurses not using gloves when dealing with Dream's IV. We have another example again where this nurse actually was giving her milk through her feeding tube with no gloves. Did I report it? Yeah, I did.
So she's on the regular ventilator with a smaller tube right now. So her leak is still pretty bad. And she's doing great, so we're leaving it for now. We're going to talk to Dr. Sydney, who's on tonight, to see if she wants to upsize her breathing tube.
Okay. On the morning of March 17, I was met with madness when I got up to Nemours. I was so angry, but I had to contain myself. Because why did my daughter have E. coli, which led into meningitis, which spread to her brain, which caused a fever and seizures? Why was this happening? Why was my daughter on so much antibiotics? Why? During this time, I decided to stay at Nemours. I told them she had blood coming out of her mouth. The nurse came and she told me, oh, it's old blood from the seizures that's coming up. The seizures last about 24 hours, and right at this point, they were just monitoring it, seeing if they would come back. I was so happy to see her eyes finally open.
Here I am.
Now take a listen to Dr. Sydney. About the meningitis, but she said the first 24 hours came back no growth, so hopefully.
Yeah. So we're never gonna get like a real answer about that.
Okay.
That's because she was already on antibiotics by the time we did the lumbar puncture.
Okay.
And I will say, if I'm being very honest, to me, looking at not whether we got bacteria to grow from the lumbar puncture from the spinal tap, because there was already some amount of antibiotics circulating.
Right.
So what happens is you can very quickly kill off the majority of the bacteria with that.
Right.
What was concerning to me, though, we're never going to get a better answer than that, whether there was or was not meningitis. With all of our preterm babies, we do an MRI once they're older, bigger, closer to their due date. With all of our preterm babies, it's really important to make sure that we're doing things like following up very in the long term with like physical therapists and occupational therapists and with our developmental clinic, because the thing we worry about with meningitis is it doesn't cause brain injury.
Yeah.
And MRIs can give us some answers. But really, of course, what matters the most is how she does in the long term.
Right.
And that was true of whether she has meningitis, whether she's a preemie, whatever the risk factors are for that. So my expectation is we will never get a definitive answer.
Okay.
We will keep her on a longer course of IV antibiotics.
Right.
Because with meningitis, you want that sort of those first couple doses wipe out the majority of the bacteria, but then you want to do a longer course to kill off any last little bacteria that are in there.
Okay.
So that would be my expectation, is that she will be on a longer course of IV antibiotics.
Okay.
We usually do like 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Which, she has the IV, and hopefully we don't have to replace this one. Or how we had to replace the PICC
The first
line
one, yeah.
because the bacteria was just
Growing.
continually growing and
Yep.
growing through that PICC line.
Yeah.
So we're all going to cross all of our fingers and toes and everything, eyes and whatever we can possibly cross, that we can clear this infection.
Right. So 24 hours passed since her last seizure, and it was time for us to remove the tabs and the gunk out of her hair. And another nurse, Nurse Rebecca, another amazing nurse, allowed me to wipe her hair, wash it, and clean her up.
Okay.
I'm awake now.
Okay.
You got me awake.
No, look at her eyes wide awake. Here, let me
I'm up now. Thank you.
let's get this out the way.
So once we cleaned her up, Nurse Rebecca put her back inside of the incubator and wrapped her so she was ready to go to sleep for the night. But as you can see, wide-eyed, she was not trying to go to sleep. She just wanted to stare at me. So I was able to do skin to skin again with her. They downgraded her oxygen. They took the oxygen tube out of her throat and they downgraded her to the CPAP, and they introduced her to pacifiers. I would literally hold the pacifier until she fell asleep. So I was able to start holding her again once she was better. I love you, Mommy. Yeah. She's smiling. Oh my God, I love you so much. I'm going to wake you up. Yes. I'm going to wake you up. I don't care. Don't you always put up your hands. I don't care, Dreamy. I love you. I love you. I love you, Dream.
She looks hungry, right?
Yeah.
Good.
She's sucking on a pacifier for their lives.
Yeah.
So when she pull out the tube, does it hurt since it's in her stomach, or is...
It doesn't hurt when it comes out.
Right.
It probably is very uncomfortable going
Right.
in. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like,
How did she
somebody
pull
putting a
that
tube
out?
down your mouth, you know? But we'll get it in. We'll secure it in. But last night I would give her a couple of drops on that. Oh my God.
She was going in.
Went to town. She was like, she loves it. She does. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. She pulled out the tube. Damn, Dream. Now they're going to have to stick it back in. You're not going to like it. That's funny. That's funny. Sunshine, my only sunshine. When you're not happy, how much I love you. Yeah. Please don't take my sunshine away. Continuing the neglectful stuff that was happening at Nemours, I came in one day and Dream was drenched in shit and had the worst rash I've ever seen. A few days later, they told me she needed blood because she looked pale. However, none of this is listed in her medical notes. Her medical records is a fucking complete joke, and I'm going to expose it all.